Make firmware updates your new best friend. It's a smart new tactic that top bricks and mortar retailers are using to retain customers. I've spent years sending out PDF instructions and tip sheets and made many YouTube videos to support stores in their quest to educate customers to turn off the firmware update notifications, not allow updates, and to stop auto updates from the OEMs. Despite this, we see many stores complaining that aftermarket sales are down, profits down, margins down, and customer loyalty down. And unfortunately, if you're in a franchise, while you make less, the head office are making more because they are getting a higher dollar per cartridge on OEM sales than they do on aftermarket. Obviously that can't last, and it's just one of the reasons we have seen a decline in store numbers. We are the only Australian ink and toner wholesaler to consistently visit stores around the country, and on those visits over the last 24 years, I've seen and shared with the store's permission many good ideas that retailers have developed. The latest one reverses the push to stop customers updating firmware and instead encourages updates. Bricks and mortar retailers have been fighting a losing battle on firmware updates and have also been losing market share to online retailers who are selling at prices they just can't compete with. This has not been helped by some distributors who are not only selling direct but also supplying many of the online competition. This is a total conflict of interest to the bricks and mortar retailers. You know who they are, or if you don't, just call me. So the new tactic is, if you can't beat them, join them. But you do need a supplier that actually delivers and supports your store. The three main keys are being able to supply stores with the latest chips all the time. Eco has been first to market in Australia with new chips for years. A fast response time when new firmware launches to re-chip both the warehouse and the store stock, and not having to wait for new chips to launch by employing a chip reprogrammer and resetting on demand. Since 2021, we have had the advantage of deploying the Unismart reprogrammers to update the chips. Nothing leaves our warehouse without being reset with the current chip version. Apex is monitoring the OEMs daily, and when new firmware launches, it's discovered and our machines are updated overnight. We update, check and swap out the chips for both inkjet and toner on a host of reprogramming machines and jigs. We update store stock if they get caught with older chips, and many cartridges now don't even need to be unboxed to update their chips. Our packaging allows access to update and check the chips externally. On my national store visits, I've seen many retailers that have just completely given up selling aftermarket cartridges, all because their supplier can't keep up with the firmware releases and they're just sick and tired of rejections and lost customers. There is no need to give up and lose margin and customer loyalty. Do yourself a favour and swap to Eco, where you can have confidence in the product you sell. We will still be on the lookout for some in-store solutions for you also, and some potential game-changer chip solutions when we visit Remax World Expo. Our group has attended major shows around the world for over 20 years now, researching and in many cases helping in the development of the best products. The RT Remax World Expo will be held for the first time in 3 years, and it will showcase more than 400 exhibitors. It's a great opportunity to also do a lot of factory visits, network with industry veterans, share ideas and learn what's working well in other parts of the world. Of course, you can still persist with asking customers to turn off updates and have the comfort that if they don't follow your advice, the Eco chips are updated and will work with the latest firmware anyway. This tactic can work very well, however it's not flawless. There are two small potential threats. Firstly, the retailer should not sell old chip versions when we advise of updates. Secondly, from time to time there can be a short gap from the new programmer firmware to be launched. Usually the updates happen without delay, but there can be delays from time to time. Just like Apex monitors the OEMs will also monitor the aftermarket chips and keep trying to block them. Recently, a new e-chip was launched for the HP 905 and 955 series that was developed to stop the need for us to use the programmers when updates happened. Effectively, a future-proof chip. However, surprise, surprise, just a day or so ago, HP launched a new style of update. Past updates employed a blocking serial number type update. The new anti-firm e-chips that we have were able to circumvent those updates. HP has just now responded with a totally new type of upgrade being called the Program Command type upgrade, which will block the new anti-firmware e-chips. On the 26th of September, the HP 905s got this new type of update. And just yesterday, on the 28th of September 2023, the HP 955s got the same style update, both delivered to printers via Wi-Fi. The good news for our Eco customers is that the factory were able to swiftly decode the new OEM firmware style and have already uploaded a new solution just hours after the OEM launch. This means our reprogrammers can update chips to work in all machines, no matter what firmware they are running, including yesterday's new firmware style update. So your store can have cartridges that work while other retailers selling other brands will reject at a higher rate. However, the new tactic of encouraging updates makes real sense. In this current climate where stores have been losing sales to online retailers at an accelerated rate since the last COVID lockdown, you need to highlight your point of difference more than ever. Just do a Google search of your actual product codes in store and the popular toners like 2450, 2350, 226, 276, and you'll see the prices on the web are half, a third, a quarter, and up to a tenth of what you sell for. And in a lot of cases, it's exactly the same product as you're selling and has very similar product codes. Customers nowadays are very educated and they're not stupid. Once your customers see the same product you sell at other retailers for way cheaper prices, they won't be back in your store. And they'll perceive that you've been ripping them off and be motivated to tell others. It's not only the online that you need to worry about. On a recent road trip, I visited some stores that are paying higher prices for an own brand product and had given up selling firmware affected models because of the rejections. They purchased the own brand product because they wanted to have a unique packaging. What they're failing to see is the direct competition in the same town or suburb is selling the same product with virtually the same product codes for way less than they are. Worse still is when their own brand is out of stock, they've been supplied the same brand as their competition, again with the same product codes. You don't have that problem with Eco. As you know, Eco does not sell to other resellers in the same town when they have an established retailer in that area. So you'll never have that issue with us. Don't just listen to me. Go and look for yourself. Go and look at your competition and see what they're selling and what prices they're selling at, and just Google your own product codes and you'll quickly see if you're buying from the right distributor. By encouraging updates, customers that are tempted away on price are quite likely to have a bad experience due to firmware rejections, and they'll come back to you just because the Eco cartridges work. They are then more likely to be loyal to you in the future. I'm very passionate about these topics because the last few years have seen a huge decline in retail store numbers, with some store owners either walking away from the industry with nothing, selling but just getting some of their stock value back, or feeling trapped in a current situation and they're just not happy. I found an old personal video blog from a few years ago that still rings true today. I've visited this site in Townsville many times over the last 20 years. It used to be a Cartridge World store, but like many others, they've gone. And Australia's lost about 100 stores, 100 CW stores in the last 3 years. That's no good for the store owners, it's no good for customers, it's no good for the suppliers, and it's no good for the industry. So we've got to work out a way to keep stores running and keep them more profitable. The market's changed a lot over the last 10 to 15 years. We need the independent cartridge sellers to be more profitable and more competitive. And otherwise we're going to see things like when I drive down here and I see the signs where it says Cassowary Crossing, the independent retailers are going to be like the cassowary, where you just don't see them anymore. They just keep dropping off and disappearing, and they'll be a thing of the past. These independent stores are the ones that know most about printers and cartridges, more than any of these big box movers. Store owners need to become more competitive and adapt to the changes, with a lot more online sellers and other people moving into the industry, and the cartridge retailer specialists have dropped off in numbers. So we've got to have them more competitive, and they're an important part of the industry that we need to protect and save. Stores can and are operating profitably. and succeeding despite the competition, while others are stuck in a rut and on the road to doom, and it's just terrible to witness. Our mission has not changed, and that is to help preserve the cartridge specialist stores, no matter what flavour brand is over their door. I believe we are the longest running aftermarket ink and toner distributor in Australia, with the same management today as when we first started. We have seen many others come and go, and unfortunately many have caused unnecessary harm to our industry sector. Our view is that the easier and better we can make it for the retailer, they will sell more and we all benefit.